Welcome back to the Owner's Chair. Today I'll be giving a fresh cut and a fresh perspective from someone who's not just continuing his family legacy, but shaping the future of automotive excellence in this region. Today I'm joined by Justin LeGrand Logan. He's part of an automotive empire that represents top brands such as Volkswagen, BMW, and Audi. He's the COO of Third Set Partners. He has 14 years in the automotive industry. He's a family man, married for 10 years, with 3 daughters, ages 1, 2, and 3. So he's been doing a lot of work. He's also a men's ministry director, an honorary Air Force commander at Travis Air Force Base, and a Fairfield Sassoon Chamber of Commerce board member. Oh man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
No, thank you.
Waiting all week.
We start by thanking you, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
Appreciate it, man.
And appreciate you coming to join us so we can chop it up.
Yeah.
Figuratively and literally.
Let's get it.
So what we getting done today?
Let's do like a medium taper. Don't take it down too low on the top and just clean up the sides. All right. Get my beard game on.
As a family, you guys laid the foundation for this massive organization. And we had the honor of talking with your father, Mr. Logan, in the first episode. Tell me, what's your role in building a family business? And from your perspective, what is it like building as a family?
Yeah, so my role as COO of Third Set Partners is really about growth and business development. So we started out with one dealership about 3 years ago with BMW. We've since expanded to 2 more, opening Volkswagen about a year ago, Audi about 90 days ago. And the goal or the promise that I made to our employees is that I was really trying to get to 10 stores in 10 years. And so we're on that pace. 3 stores in 3 years, 10 stores in 10 years is still the goal. And the reason we want to do that is because we want to continue to create opportunities, jobs for our employees, jobs for the communities that we serve. It's obviously a big benefit to the cities. The sales tax revenue is a huge help so they can continue to do things in the community. There's a homelessness issue in Fairfield. That was one of the things that the city let us know when we came to them with a development plan. And with each of the communities that we go into, we're really looking for employees that live in those communities. We don't necessarily want to hire from San Francisco or San Jose and have people commuting out. We want those folks who are living here because of the cost of living, but commuting into the Bay Area to be able to work where they live. And then looking at the future opportunities, because we have people kind of on the entry level or ground floor, we want to continue to be able to give them a career path. There's only so many seats in leadership per rooftop, but as we continue to expand, and those opportunities continue to be there for them. As far as working with family, I mean, my dad is probably one of my best friends. So getting the opportunity to work with him every single day is pretty cool. He gets on my nerves sometimes. I'm sure I get on his nerves most of the time. I'm supposed to, right? But it's a blessing. My girls have been here. They've been here when the stores were just construction sites. I've seen them, kind of grow up with the stores. I got 3 little ones. The first one was born, right before the first store opened, and so on and so forth. So it's like 3 girls in 3 years with 3 stores in 3 years. It's pretty cool.
That's the one that be answering the phones for you sometimes?
Yeah. Since she was about a year and a half, too, she's been able to say, welcome to BMW Fairfield. This is Victory. How can I help you? She does the same thing in my wife's law firm, so it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
At some point, you went from watching to leading.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the key challenges or opportunities that you saw when officially stepping into the leadership role?
Yeah, I think anybody that's gone from kind of watching or working under folks to leadership, you have a pretty, if you're paying attention, you got a pretty good experience of knowing what you liked about certain leaders and what you didn't like. And I think my leadership style is a combination of a bunch of different people, whether it's leaders in business, coaches from playing sports growing up over the years. I know what my style is. I would say if there's a certain language for it, it's probably closer to like a servant leader. Like I believe in not asking folks to do stuff that I'm not willing to do myself. and continue to just kind of be positive and upbeat, but also create an atmosphere of accountability so you can have honest and transparent conversations. And one of the things that we've talked about in our meetings or town halls is radical transparency. So it's really getting to people and say, hey, this is where we are. There's no need to sugarcoat it. We're running well, we're not running well, we had a good month, we had a bad month, and here's what we need to do, and here's the plan going forward. I think people respect that and they respond to it.
Yeah, it's like leading by example.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to be yelled at and demeaned. You're not working with little kids, you're working with grown adults who are here trying to put food on the tables for themselves and for their family. So treat people with respect and just show them that you're willing to be in the trenches with them.
So Justin, balance is key.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance everything with your family, with your business, and your own personal goals?
I think the most important thing is to remember just keeping first things first. And, for me, my family's definitely first. So I use my calendar a lot as the first thing. Like it makes me much more organized than I probably am just naturally. And there's certain things I just hold sacred, being able to get home at a certain time to be with the girls before they go to sleep. Um, it's obviously not something that you can do 365 days a year, but as much as possible. And, kind of like when you're playing sports, when you're in between the lines, that's the time to really be in between the lines and focus. So I can use that time to really just be focused on work. And then everything else is about really creating more time, right? That's what we do this for. We're doing it for our families. We're doing it for our children. Um, and one of the things that I believe in for myself, for our employees, is making sure that we maintain some balance, for ourselves, our minds, our physical health. And I believe we're doing that and creating that with the stores, whether it's our days and hours of operation, little things like putting a gym into the facility at BMW so that employees have an opportunity to maintain some sense of fitness. I believe, man, I want all of our employees to have that kind of quality of life and balance also.
It's huge, and mental health is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you and your dad come in the shop, everything's positive. We're always sitting here talking about what's next, what's new, or family.
Yep.
So I see all that coming into play for you.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that we don't have challenges. Everybody has challenges. There's going to be good days and bad days, but it's about just making sure that we, keep those first things first. If you have a bad day, it's about looking at it and see what we can do to make it better the next day.
So that's definitely something my dad always told me is don't stress off stuff you have no control over.
Yep.
And if you do have control over it, just fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So once I implemented that into my life, it made things a lot easier.
Yeah.
So me and you always having conversations about community.
Mm-hmm.
Why is community so important to you?
For a couple of reasons. One, I live in the community, right? So I definitely want to be a part of making the community as good as possible, and being a benefit to the community, being a benefit to my neighbors. I think the other piece is we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to be a good neighbor from the standpoint of being businesses. We have a responsibility to our employees and our customers. And, having a good reputation is very difficult in the automotive industry, right? There's a lot of stigma behind being a car dealership, and especially on the sales side, where people historically have been taken advantage of in car dealerships. And it's not a place that a lot of people look forward to going. It's a necessity, but it's not something that people are like, man, I'm excited to go to the car dealership. And I think our way of doing business and our philosophy is trying to make that easier for people. We want to make the experience as pleasant as possible. We want to value people's time. And our hope is that through the growth of each of the stores that we'll be able to give back, right? We get a lot of requests to participate in different things, whether it's nonprofit organizations or schools, and we'd love to say yes to everyone. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. I don't know that any business can say yes 100% of the time, but we definitely want to be active participants and proactive participants in our, I'll call it philanthropy, for lack of a better word, just being able to be good neighbors and good stewards in the community.
You mentioned that when people come into the dealership, they necessarily don't be so excited to come in. I think it has a lot to do with, people come in with their guard up.
Mm-hmm.
They feel that you're not on their side.
Yep.
It's them against you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know me and your dad spoke about the one price, one person, 1 hour
Mhm.
motto.
Yep.
And I think it's great because it outlines what it is. There's no negotiations going on. You
Mhm.
guys factored in your margins and made it right for both of you guys. And so, I think that's huge,
Yeah.
because most people come in and they come in going, okay, I got to beat them.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, there's still a lack of trust, right? Like people still look at it and say, okay, well, that's the discount you want to give me, um, but I think that you can or should do better, right? There's a negotiation aspect that's kind of inherent in the culture of car buying. I think there's a lot of customers that appreciate the way that we do business, and they like not having the back and forth and the haggle experience. And I believe as we, earn the trust of the community and the trust of our clients, repeat customers, that'll become more and more, it's become easier for everyone, both our employees as well as our guests. And I think they'll see the real benefit and value of it versus the previous experience that they had. And one price, one person, 1 hour is definitely a big part of our sales side of our business. The bigger, I guess, motto or mantra that we have is to be more than a dealership, and that really goes into the culture of, I would love for the last experience and the last memory for all of our customers to not be transactional, right? To have that experience where BMW Fairfield or Fairfield Automotive or Volkswagen Fairfield or Audi Napa Valley was there and present, with a banner at their son or daughter's sports game, right? Where they're supporting. We sponsored the programs that they needed or uniforms that they needed, or we were able to partner with the Levin and help children that they partner with. And we sponsored the ice skating rink at Meritage for their Mary Meritage. So the different places that we can be and our name can be represented around the community, so that when you think about the dealerships that we represent, it's not only tied to the transaction of someone buying a car or servicing their car.
So, you come from a sports background
Mm-hmm.
where I'm sure within that, especially at such a high level that you played, um, you've had a lot of sponsorships and a lot of help
Mm-hmm.
along the way. So you fully understand the value of a company being behind them and helping them in any way possible.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's absolutely necessary. I mean, for families, I mean, my children aren't quite old enough to participate in AAU and leagues and that type of thing, but I know how expensive it is for families back then. I know it's even more so now, whether it's paying for training, paying for summer camps, paying to just be on the leagues and the travel and the uniforms and the shoes and equipment. So anything that we can, do now and especially in the future is certainly something that, we're committed to as a family and as a company.
the automotive industry is changing fast.
Yeah, it is.
It's going electric, the new
Mhm.
technology, and you know, a lot of people are focused on sustainability. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, as a company, the best thing we can do is really lean into it, right? There's no sense in resisting something that's already been more or less mandated at the federal government level, the state government level. I mean, this is happening. It's a wave of vehicles and technologies that are coming into the market space, and especially with the brands that we have. And so it's really important that, we embrace it, that we make sure that our team members in every department are educated in terms of what that means, both for existing customers as well as future customers, what it means in terms of the infrastructure of our stores. And I think we've done that, especially in the spaces that we've built. The new BMW dealership has, more electric charging stations than most of the dealerships in the market in the region. And we have the infrastructure underground to add additional EV charging stations as the market continues to grow. And so, it's really about educating ourselves, staying up with what's happening in the space, what's happening with the inventory and the technology, and doing as best we can to be ahead of the curve so we're not constantly reacting. As far as electric vehicles and sustainability, for our organization, we see ourselves being among the leaders, especially in our market and region. Um, for us, it's really about just leaning into the technology and leaning into where the market is going, where the manufacturers are going with their production and the electric vehicles that are coming into the market. And with the brands that we have, it's definitely an initiative that each one is taking extremely seriously, and they're in constant development and releasing a variety of electric vehicles. So it's pretty cool. And then from the rooftop standpoint, just making sure that all of our employees are getting the training that they need to be educated on what that means, both for the sales associates as well as for our parts and service team members, our technicians, making sure that all of them are getting the training that they need, getting out and getting all their manufacturer certifications is very important because it's not slowing down. It's a government mandate and the OEMs are taking it very, very seriously. And so we don't want to be behind at the end of the day. So it's about being proactive in our education so that we're not reacting to what the market conditions are already telling us.
So the automotive industry has evolved so much. Where do you see it going?
I think that's difficult, right? I think the main thing about the automotive industry is that it continues just to change, right? I think that's the exciting part is that don't really know where it's going. I think it's going to a place of, embracing more technology. It's going to a place that's maybe faster in terms of the speed of transaction and sales. And, I think that's consistent to what we're seeing, just in terms of consumer behavior, that instant gratification, that ease of being able to purchase goods, whether it's through something like Amazon or whatever the case is, right? Customers are getting into that frame of mind where they're looking for transparent organizations, transparent in the way that they do business, transparent in their pricing, transparent in their service, fast in the way that they deliver information, multiple means of communicating, chat, text, email, video. So we've made it a point to embrace all of those different things and also thinking ahead to other ways that we can do business and other ways that we can make interacting with us that much easier, both for our employees, so they can make it easier on themselves to work in the areas that we've asked them to work, but also for our clients and our guests, whether it's attending and frequenting our events that we have at the dealerships or doing service or buying cars from us or even doing it from their own homes and offices. So we're just constantly looking at different ways and looking across industries, to keep up and to get ahead where we can.
So with all the advances going on, what excites you most of where this automotive industry is going?
So I think, from the standpoint of being, invested into these businesses, the thing that excites me most is that there's really no ceiling, right? There's tons of opportunity, there's tons of space, for growth. The product is changing rapidly, the technology is changing rapidly, and there's really no barriers around where automotive can go and where these vehicles will go in the future. From the standpoint of our employees, I think the thing that's most exciting is that we're growing, right? So it automatically is creating additional opportunities. We have X amount of sales managers, but we're going to need more. With X amount of service managers, but we're going to need more. X amount of just employees, then we'll need more. So I think that should be exciting for everyone. I think as we continue to grow, that income potential increases as well, right? So for an employee that's coming in and they see the dealerships at a certain size, as we continue to sell and service more business, then their income potential also increases. So I think that's exciting. From the standpoint of the community, I talked about us being good stewards in the community, being good partners in the community. As we continue to grow, we'll be able to give more, and that is an active part of what we strive to do on a daily basis. It's an active part of what we live when we talk about being more than a dealership. So we're excited about that opportunity as well. And I think just from the aspect of a family, we're excited to see more and more of our family members hopefully get on board. My mom is a part of what we do on a daily basis. We call her Dr. E internally. She's got her PhD in education from Penn, and she's our predictive index. She's our PI guru. So she actually works with all of the leadership members of our team, and she helps them better understand the personalities of the employees that we have so we can be more effective coaches and leaders.
So what's your personal leadership philosophies and how did it shape how you manage your team?
I think the simplest way is that, I believe I'm a servant leader. And for me, that means not asking anyone to do what I'm not willing to do. And I think I've done quite a bit of training and reading. And one of the things that I've learned is actually kind of a military practice. And don't quote me on the exact process, but they really emphasize the different ways that people learn and making sure that when you're teaching or coaching or training or leading, that you don't just tell somebody what to do, right? You're not just dictating, you're not just giving a directive, but you make time to tell them, to show them, to watch them do it, and to watch them show somebody else and tell somebody else how to do it. So everyone gets that mastery of whatever it is that you're trying to learn, whatever it is that you're trying to teach. And it's pretty basic. I mean, you do that in everything with your kids when you're teaching them how to read and write and do arithmetic, when you're teaching them how to play different sports. And the same thing transitions to the business world when you're trying to get people to learn, about a product or about a service or about a culture, about a way of doing business. It's about making the time and really treating people with respect. I've always had an open door policy, so only time my office door was closed is if I was in there with someone else having a meeting, if I was in a meeting that I couldn't be disturbed. But other than that, the door is open. People knew that they could come and talk to me anytime. They can text me anytime, message me anytime. And I like to think I'm fairly good at getting back to folks with the questions or the answers to the questions they've asked.
For people that's looking to join your organization, what are the things you're looking for, and what makes you guys different from other dealerships?
Yeah, I think ultimately what we're looking for is attitude, right? It's a certain attitude, a certain combination of a competitive spirit, but also a positive attitude that you can bring, and really in the area of hospitality. A lot of the employees that we've hired didn't have prior car sales experience or car industry experience. We have folks that were in the service business or hotel business or different areas where they understood that the most important aspect of a business, especially a business desiring to grow, is acquiring customers and retaining those customers. And so that's one of the big ones for us is, what's the attitude? What's the mindset of a person when it comes to people, right? Do they actually like people?
Right.
In a business where it's required to like people. As we're trying to be an employer, I think we talk a lot about what our employer brand is. And, we focus on quality of life. We focus on communication and transparency. And those are the things that I believe that we continue to do 3 and 4 years later, that each person that comes in ultimately feels like they're becoming part of a family and part of an organization that's invested in their growth and development. And it's not just a one-way street. Like it should be reciprocal. You're coming in, we understand that you're spending your time and you're working with us, you're working hard for us. And we want to make sure that you continue to have opportunities to grow. You have an opportunity to make the kind of money that you need to make to support yourself, support your families, and you have an outlook on what your future with us looks like.
Oh, I'm the same way, brother. Like when I hire at the shop, I'm looking for an individual that's, an individual themselves, because that's what attracts the clientele to come in. And at my shop we have people from all makes, and everywhere, from all over, but we come together as like a family. When a lot of people are shocked when people come in, first thing they do is they dap up everybody in there.
Yeah,
that's just a culture we have.
Yep.
And it sounds like you guys kind of have trying to do the same culture here, where people come in and actually, if you bought a car, what's the average loan? 4 years?
Average loan's probably 5 years.
5?
Yeah.
Okay. Average loan's 5 years. So in 10 years, you bought 2 cars. That's a long time for somebody to know somebody.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of like in the hair business. I've seen generations of family grow up.
Yep.
And the kids come in, dap up everybody. The dad comes in, daps up everybody.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going down the line. So I definitely like what you were talking about with the, everybody has to be themselves at some point, but still take care of business.
Yeah, you're doing a good job if you sold or service the entire household, right? So we're talking about more than service. We're talking about more than a dealership. One of the things that I've really wanted us to be able to do was take care of an entire household. And so at each of our stores, we actually service all makes and models. So even though we have a Volkswagen dealership, an Audi dealership, and a BMW dealership, we service every brand at all 3 of those locations. So, if you drive a BMW, but your wife drives a Chevy, her can get the same exact experience. You bring the Chevy in, she brings the Chevy in to either one of our stores, gets to take advantage of the same amenities, work with the same service advisor, hopefully have the same great experience no matter what's in your driveway.
Right.
And that was something I was just driving around. I was like, man, not everybody has all the same cars in their driveway. but they take it to some other location when they should just be coming to one spot.
Yeah, and it's just like anything, you always want to deal. It's easier to deal with just one person or one company
Yep.
because they know you, you know them,
Yeah.
and then it's a smooth, easy transition.
Yeah. You get to greet somebody by name. It's like, hey, welcome back, Randy. Yeah, we'll take care of your
For
wife's
sure.
car all the same.
For sure. So, if potential partners or investors are watching this right now, what would you tell them is why is right now the time to invest?
I think there's a lot of cool things happening, right? So we just had the rate cut, which should continue to go down. At least that's what I think is going to happen, which will help boost sales. Um, Within the industry, there are a lot of individuals who have been car dealers for a long time. They're getting up there in age, 70, 80, even 90 years old, and they don't have succession plans. There's not a son or daughter, in their family that's either in the business or that's looking to continue to run the business. So there's some opportunities that are going to become available across a number of different brands and locations. And just being in California, the price of property is never really going to go down, right? That's an asset that's going to continue to appreciate, and car dealerships sit on acres and acres of land and very visible and prominent locations. So just the property aspect of an acquisition and investment will always be appealing in California. So I think those three reasons alone are probably the first three that I would think of. I do think of as an investor.
So you've made strong relationships with key brands such as the Volkswagen, BMW, and Audi.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is important to keep those relationships good?
I think just like you said, being a good partner, right? With any of the manufacturers, that's the first thing that we're striving to be as a good partner. Represent their brands, represents the clients that are already existing owners before we came into business, especially, and also the new ones that are, going to be coming to the brand, not just our location, but coming to the brand for the first time. So it's about being a good partner. And I think as we continue to look to grow, those are the same things that will make us attractive to future brands. So it's just like the same mindset of being a good steward. How are you taking care of what you've already been blessed with? And so if we can go to future manufacturers and say, hey, we've partnered with Volkswagen, BMW, and Audi, and here's what our customer satisfaction scores say, and here's what our Google reviews are saying about the way that we do business and the way that we take care of our people and our clients. Here's our retention scores in terms of our employees and employee engagement scores. I think those are the things that, speak for themselves and continue to show future partners and our existing partners that we are a good partner to do business with.
How do you keep that family feel and family touch while still modernizing the demands of the industry?
I think we do the things that we do intentionally with our guests in mind, right? So the way that our dealerships are laid out, it's a very kind of open concept feel. It's inviting. I think the furniture that we choose, the colors, they're designed around the brand and the brand parameters, but it's designed to be a place that's warm, right? Folks are coming into a space where they need to spend some of their time, which we believe is valuable, obviously some of their money, which is very valuable. And we want this to be a location, all of our locations, where they feel welcome is the first thing. And in terms of modernizing, I think we embrace technology, and we're embracing it because we want to make sure that we're valuing their time. So how can we make the process more efficient? How can we make the arrival of their service appointment, their service visit, that much more efficient? How can we save them time as they're coming in, getting their loaner so they can get on with their day, get back to pick up their kids or drop them off at school? How can we make the sales experience more efficient? How can we be more transparent? What tools can we have that they can see everything that they need to see, that as they're asking questions about the trade-in value of their car or the finance or lease payment, that they see it right there in front of them on a screen, and there's no kind of old school, hidden cloaks or back rooms or anything that they have to go to or wait for us to go to and come back with that information. They have a question, we pop it up on a screen, and they see it right then and there. They want to change something, we pop it up on the screen, they see it right then and there, so they can make decisions in real time or as fast as they'd like to. And that goes back to the commitment that we have about one price, one person, 1 hour. That last part is really about valuing their time.
Yeah, no, that's you guys seem like you guys are really focused on the customer.
Yeah.
And even looking at it as if you're the customer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I try to model my business too. Even with my colleagues that I work with at the shop, I tried I work there too.
Yeah.
So every decision that I make, it's made from a standpoint of somebody that actually works there.
Yeah.
So I see a similarity right there too.
So much of what we do, we are our customers, right? And so we talk about it all the time. Like, do we operate a business that we want to do business with, right? Are we being the people that we'd want to do business with? I mean, that's a huge part of it. And when we walk around our communities, we don't want to walk around with our heads down, like we just took advantage of somebody that we now have to see in the grocery store. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So it really is about making sure that we're looking at it from the lens of, what do our customers need? What's going to make this experience easier for them? What tools can we have in place? So, communication wise, it's happening in real time and at the speed that they need it to happen.
So looking ahead,
Mm-hmm.
within the next 5 to 10 years, what are your plans?
I mean, first and foremost, it's to stay on pace with the goal and the vision that I told our employees 3 years ago, which is 10 stores in 10 years. Personally, I have a much more ambitious plan, so I would call that kind of my B plan. My A plan is significantly more. To really just kind of put my family in a position to really experience freedom. My dad will be 75 in a couple of years, and he's got five grandkids now, and my sister just got married, so maybe there's some more on the way. But for him and my mom to be able to just experience that and travel to see them whenever they want to. And then for my children, it's about, what do they want to do in their future? Will this be an opportunity that they can explore? They like coming to the dealerships now. Will it be something that they want to do as a career? Only time will tell, but should they want to, I'd like this to be something that they could take over at some point. And so I think that's what this is about. And then for our employees to just continue to create opportunities for them, so that someone who's a salesperson today, like I was 14 years ago, could have the aspirations of being a sales manager, a GSM, a general manager, even an owner in their own right. So to be able to create something that gives them the opportunity to have that vision, have that dream, or bigger, and take it and do what they want with it.
So for entrepreneurs and investors watching this, what are some of the tips you can give us for business success?
Yeah, I think the first thing for me, and this is specifically for me, is that this is a vision or a dream. So I go to sleep thinking about it. I wake up thinking about it. I wake up thinking about our people and our guests, and how I can continue to improve what we're doing. It doesn't feel like work, right? The second part is making sure that you write down the plan. Write the vision, make it plain, and all that, but have a written plan that you can go back to and reference and build on. I think one of the most important pieces of advice or information that I was ever given about starting something is that it's going to cost twice as much and take twice as long as you're estimating. So as you're putting that plan together, making sure that you have enough breathing room to really be, have the perseverance to see it through. Like, a lot of people have dreams and plans, but they get to that point where it gets hard or it gets tight and they abandon it. And that's probably right about the point that you need to keep pushing and going forward, but you didn't build it into your plan or into your thinking that you were going to reach that point. But if you think about it from the standpoint, okay, I would like it to take a year or 2 years, but it's probably going to take 3 years or 4 years. Mm-hmm. And I'd like it to cost this much, but it's probably going to cost twice as much. Then when you get to that point, it's not a breaking point. And for a lot of people, it is a breaking point. So I think those would be the couple pieces of advice: is do something that you love and that you enjoy doing, that's not work, that is passion. Write the vision down, treat that passion as though it is a business, right? Don't just go out and have hope as your plan. That's never going to work. And then make sure that you budget your time and your money and your resources accordingly, and say, okay, it's going to take twice as long, be twice as hard as I think it should.
No, that's some I think Nipsey Hussle said that. He said one of the biggest qualities he had was just to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you said, a lot of people, it gets hard and then they give up.
Yep.
But also, that goes back to family and who you have around you, mm-hmm. to help you through those times and keep you motivated. Because motivation, that's huge. And even us as friends, sometimes we don't do that extra motivation for somebody else that they might needed it today. Mm-hmm. So I strive to stay as positive as I can to everybody.
Yeah.
To keep pushing them. Yep. Because when I push you, you push me, and then success comes for everybody.
Exactly.
So you're an athlete, and we spoke about earlier about coaching and all that. So how does that correlate to how the business uh, looks in your eyes?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it in terms of my own personal discipline and my leadership style comes from my experience in athletics. So both as a player, I played, pretty high ball in high school and, various sports growing up, played Division I in college, played overseas and in Mexico for a while. And there's a certain level of just discipline, like that time that it takes to be a student athlete in college, waking up for, crazy in the morning to do workouts, multiple sessions of different workouts, games, traveling, all that type of stuff, and that command on your time. And I think one of the earlier topics that we talked about was how do you keep balance, right? And that's something that you have to learn as an athlete, as a student athlete, is how am I going to maintain balance to, work out, to eat right, to study, to play, to get good grades, to graduate. And a lot of people unfortunately can't manage that balance. They can't master that balance at that time. And they leave or they don't finish their degree. So I was fortunate enough to do that. And I brought it into, I think, my professional career. One, I don't mind waking up early, and I don't quite prescribe to the Kobe philosophy, but I do believe in that. So nobody's going to beat me up in the morning, so I can wake up early and get going when I need to. I think the second part about leadership is having various different coaches. I've had coaches that screamed down on me and yelled at me and cussed me out and all kind of stuff. And you see the same type of thing in business. You have those type of leaders and managers that, disrespect and degrade and all that with their language or their attitude. And I was like, okay, that's not a management or leadership style that I can, get behind. But the ones who can, lift you up, even in, kind of breaking you down and breaking down your weaknesses and trying to help you to turn them into strengths. I think those are the skills that I tried to embody. Was how can I tell someone that they're not doing a good job or they underperformed in an area without demeaning them or disrespecting them, without breaking their entire confidence, and giving them the tools that they need to say and see that they can do better. And right, let me help you, let me show you, let me work with you. And I learned that both from managers in the business world as well as coaches in the athletic world.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We just want, if we're teaching somebody or coaching somebody, we want them to do better.
Yeah.
So degrading them, treating them less as a person, that's like same here. I don't think that goes nowhere.
No.
So I appreciate you doing this, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the main goals for myself was to let the community know you guys. Me and you and your father, we have conversations at my shop, and that's what sparked this whole idea was the information that you guys were giving me.
Mm-hmm.
I looked around the room and thought to myself, I don't think nobody knows what you just told me right now. And so that's when I brought up to you about doing this was let's do that. Let's teach everybody in our words.
Yeah.
I spoke about this with your dad. Coming into the BMW or Audi, it seems very prestigious and it could be intimidating for some people. But I think once they get to know you guys, they'll realize that, you don't have to dress a certain way or speak a certain way. You just have to know your information and come with the correct paperwork, and you're welcome.
Yeah.
And that's my goal with this.
Yep.
And I think it's going well.
No, I appreciate you, man. No, this was definitely an idea that we talked about just sitting in the chair multiple times. And I know my dad had big fun on the first one. Looking forward to many more. So appreciate you making the time to do it too.
It's all good, man.
Yeah, thank you for the cut.